What's up, y'all? I'm Marcus, and I would like to take a moment here just to clear up a couple of interesting things that have come up with Bloodborne lore discussions so far to this point. Um, the game, this game is Miyazaki-san's take on cosmic horror. If you're not familiar with cosmic horror, if you're not familiar with cosmic horror, just Google Lovecraft, and you're going to get a pretty good idea of what's going on here. But the basic gist of it is you have these kind of alien beings that you could think of as a sort of god, deity, or demon, or devil, but they're basically aliens. That's why it's cosmic horror. You also have this situation where dreams are represented a lot, not necessarily just as a substate of reality, but rather a separate reality or a separate plane of existence. These sorts of things. But more to the point, one of the key concepts for Bloodborne, and Miyazaki-san talked about it in the guide interview, he actually brought this up directly, is this idea of RK selection. Now, if you haven't heard of this before, the basic idea is that some types of creatures reproduce very rapidly. Each individual creature has a ton of children, and then many of them die and only a few survive, but that's enough because they have so many kids that it's fine. Whereas another type of selection, K selection, is where one particular individual will only have maybe one child or two children, a very small amount of children, but they devote a lot of time and energy and effort and resources to taking care of those kids. So this is RK selection, and this is something that Miyazaki himself brought up as being a core concept of this game. So what he's doing here, he's actually taking this Lovecraftian Cthulhu mythos, and he is melding it with these ideas about RK selection. And he's taking the idea, as in his words, well, paraphrasing his words, he said, more powerful creatures seem to select for fewer and fewer children. And indeed, humans have relatively few children if you compare us to many types of insects or things like that. Like we have a small number of children, or dogs or cats for that matter. So he took this concept of, okay, these powerful creatures are only having a small number of children, and he kind of melded that together with Lovecraft, with this Cthulhu mythos, and there are these great ones, there are these alien gods, they're extremely powerful, but they're also relatively infertile compared to humans. And so it's this whole concept of the gods, I say great ones, wanting children, and humans wanting to evolve to be more like the great ones. And then this rush for power, they're using children as lures. They're using children as bait to call the old one or the great ones. So too much Demon Souls, man. I'm always going to say old ones. To call the great ones, and they want to evolve. And so this is kind of the basic setup for Bloodborne, and it's very much about alien cosmic horror reproduction. That's what it's about. And I'm saying this because a lot of people, last time I talked about this theory that people have that some of the blood that we're injecting into ourselves may actually be menstrual blood, and people are like, oh, that couldn't fucking possibly be the case. Well, yeah, it could. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that it's possible. It's possible. And another thing, a lot of people are saying, oh, people are just reading too much into the game. I don't think so. And if you read the interview once again, but Miyazaki himself says he really loves to see the theories that people come up with, and he likes to leave things open because he likes to theorize about it himself. He likes to have that world that's not closed off and completed. But he also said that he makes one hard to understand game, one easy to understand game, one hard to understand game. And I think part of the reason why Dark Souls lore became as popular as it did is because it's easy to understand compared to what he's doing with Bloodborne, what he did with Demon Souls. And when I say easy to understand, part of that is more concrete. Like, yeah, there are a lot of things in Bloodborne that are done through symbolism. There are a lot of things in Bloodborne that are done that are just kind of left open for your interpretation. A lot more so than even Dark Souls, although it still is to some extent. So yeah, it's open to interpretation, but he wants you to theorize. Like he says he that's what he's interested in. And I haven't talked to the guy. A very intelligent, well-read man. Don't put anything past him. Don't put anything past him. I just find it's really funny to me. Like, one of the things that really shocked me about the reactions to the last video was the fact that, like, in a game where these humongous mutated boars with eyeballs all over their head, and your character reaches its hand up the freaking pig's anus and rips out its intestines, and people are like, "Ooh, menstruation." What? I mean, come on. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is be mature about it and, like, come at it with an open mind. And, you know, if you're not into the story, if you just don't like the story that they were trying to tell this time, I think that's totally fine. I think that's totally acceptable. That's totally cool. But I see a lot of people, like, reacting to Bloodborne story right now that reminds me very much of how people originally reacted to Dark Souls story. Like, Dark Souls doesn't have a fucking story. Like, yeah, it does, motherfuckers. It does. I mean, you might not like it, but it's there. And over time, I think a lot of people, like, started to really recognize that, and you start putting those dots together. And there are dots to put together in Bloodborne, and when I go to do my proper lore series, probably going to be a 2 or 3 video arc, maybe just one big one. I'm not sure, but I'm going to focus on the concrete lore. But these little lore discussion videos, like, there is so much stuff that's just symbolism in this game, and it is speculation, it is interpretation, and, you know, if you don't like that, you don't like that, that's fine, that's whatever. But there is a lot of that in this game. It just is. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. But it just surprised me how many people, like, just violently respond to the idea of menstrual blood when we have, like, cosmic space horrors, and they outright reject the possibility that this could possibly be part of this game, when the game is based off of, like, one of the core key concepts is, like, how do these great ones, these cosmic horrors, how do they reproduce? That's, like, one of the core aspects of the game. There's a reason why you're going through the game hearing a baby cry. There's a reason why humans are using babies, special babies, as lures to contact the great ones. Like, wow. Like, yeah, menstruation, that sort of symbolism could very easily be in this game. Anyway, just want to have a little chat with you guys about this, and sorry I didn't shave. Later.